I think that if it weren't for OMA, I would not know how to communicate with my grandfather, because when I came back, I mean, I'm a college student from Chicago, I go to Miami University, I see my grandfather during breaks, if that, because, you know, sometimes I go over there and he's asleep. And the transformation that I saw in him was incredibly sudden, because I didn't get to watch the aging process. I just watched one chapter and then skipped 3 chapters and then came home for chapter 5. So having this experience, I agree, it's absolutely transformed me as a person, and I think that that's one of the huge merits of this program.
The goal is we're giving purpose back to the elders. We're giving them that independence and that autonomy that sometimes is taken away from them as they, by their disease or just by their situations. But hand in hand, we're also getting meaning and purpose in our lives as volunteers and as student leaders. And more importantly, we all share that common purpose and that common goal, which really helps to bind us together as a community, as volunteers.
She would sit there, she wasn't super engaged, but she would do something, but mostly she would just paint the same square inch over and over and over, just absent-mindedly. But something started happening. The more and more that I really tried to figure out what that little eyebrow raise meant with her, and just different ways of communicating with her, we started to build a relationship. And by the end of the semester, she had told me about her life. She was painting the entire page, and just the transformation that I saw in Jerry solidified my love for this program, and also helped me realize that, you know, this portion of the population is often overlooked, especially by my generation. But I mean, the things that you can do and the relationships that you can build are just incredible.
I know a lot of different things about my partner. She has lived in Preble County all her life. She was hit by a car when she was a child, and she loves Elvis. But Darlene doesn't know anything about me. I introduced myself to her several times throughout each session. You know, she doesn't have the memories to access her personality, but because I've spent so much time with her, I know how to access her personality, just like OMA does. And so the combination of spending a lot of time with that person and doing this wonderful program with her lets her personality come out in a way that just isn't there usually. You know, when I go to pick her up, she's sitting at her table, usually with a glass of water and a bunch of tissues, and she has her head down, you know, unless there's music playing. And by the end of the session, she leaves, she's smiling, she's saying thank you to everyone, and she's just really happy to be spending time with someone who she doesn't even know that she knows, but who knows her.
My sophomore year of college was when I joined OMA, and coincidentally that year my grandpa was also diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. And I found it very difficult before OMA to be able to reconnect with him on a personal level, because although I have all those shared memories of us together, he did not have the capability to recall all of those. So there were things that I could talk about that he would have no idea what to say, he wouldn't remember them. But after being in OMA as both a volunteer and a student leader, I now have the strength and the courage to use the knowledge that I've learned from this program to rebuild our relationship and form it not on memories, but based on these small moments of love and happiness and warmth.
Participation in OMA has proven to have significant impacts on both the lives of the elders and the volunteers. During my sophomore year of college, I hit my personal rock bottom. I was drowning in depression and anxiety, and most days it was really difficult to get out of bed. I lacked purpose, and because of that, I even questioned my will to live. But all of that changed when I was introduced to OMA. I began working with my partner, Peggy, who is perhaps the most positive and selfless person I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Each and every week that we did art together, I was rejuvenated. Getting out of bed on the days when I knew I was going to go see Peggy was possible. And knowing that I could leave whatever I was dealing with at that time for an hour each week to be a source of happiness for Peggy, who was facing immense struggles of her own, gave me purpose. And Peggy is a huge reason that I'm here today sharing my story with you all. OMA is one of the few things in these individuals' lives in which illness is not emphasized, because it just doesn't matter. And when people look at the artwork, they wouldn't know that these artists suffer from dementia, because when we look at art, everyone is equal. And illnesses don't matter, and that is a beautiful thing.
I think that the students are profoundly changed by the elders. I think that what we do for the elders is amazing, but they give us so much in return for our time. And my only regret with this program is that it took me until my junior year to find it. So, thank you very much.